Well, hello, everybody. I'm here today with Patrick Barker, CEO of Layton Homes in Jacksonville, Florida. Patrick, thanks for joining us here on Builder Showcase.
Thanks for having me, Kyle. Excited to be here.
Well, hey, I'd like to kick things off and just give you a few minutes to talk a little bit about Layton Homes. I know you have won some awards for design innovation and other things. Talk to us about that. What makes your brand special?
Yeah, I appreciate the setup. Layton Homes started by Glenn Layton back in 2013-ish, and our big kickoff was doing the 2013 HGTV Smart Home, and it's kind of when they were first starting up their launch of those different types of brands, and so we got to pioneer that with them a bit. So that was exciting, and that really allowed Glenn to kind of take the brand and got it up and running. And essentially what we've grown into is a boutique luxury home builder for the Jacksonville market, and it's really Jacksonville and surrounding area. So we stretch anywhere from Amelia Island, which is north of Jacksonville, all the way down south to St. Augustine, and sometimes on the west side of Jacksonville. We specialize in, like I said, the luxury market. So a lot of it is waterfront or high-end communities. 98% of what we build is designed from scratch. So we start with our architect and a blank sheet of paper and just kind of let the client dictate what they want based on their lot and the constraints that come with it. And so that's what we've been doing for almost 10 years now. And we've expanded into several markets and several regions around Jacksonville. And it's been exciting.
Fantastic. Well, I know Jacksonville in general has been a really hot market. So that'd be a great place to be. Well, hey, let's jump into some things that are just sort of trending and buzzing in the industry here a little bit. The John Burns Research and Consulting Group this morning came out and said that I think their quote was, "The land market is on fire again." And I think what they did, they started using permit data and permit activity to make that comment. And they're seeing more activity in various markets across the U.S. Obviously, that's good news for builders. One, I'd like to know, do you agree? And two, what are you seeing specifically in the Jacksonville area?
Yeah, so I'm going to say overall, yes, with an asterisk, and I'm going to qualify it a little bit because obviously a lot of that data is pulled from your more production style builders that do a lot of more of a quality, or I should say a quantity build, whereas we'll pull 12 to 18 permits a year. So we're not causing a huge dent in those numbers. And so I'd like to answer just from our perspective, which is the luxury market never really took a huge dip or hit as really interest rates rose and the economy climbed. Our clientele can kind of weather some of that for better or worse. And so, yes, the land market is hot again. I don't remember when it wasn't hot, just from us personally, just because post-COVID, it was hot. You're always kind of looking for that special type of land that can support a luxury home. They're not making more of it on the water, right? So you kind of use what you have, you find tear downs, you find little pockets of 8 to 12 lot communities off really nice roads or areas of the community. And so we track that permit data, just like a lot of people do as far as starts in our community and surrounding area. And so it did dip off as things settled down. It's now climbing again. There's a lot of lands in the Jacksonville proper and as you move west. And so as people kind of flood our market in particular, that demand is there. And so the developers are looking for it.
Excellent. Well, here at Avid, we obviously cheer for the success of both the big production builders and custom builders like yourselves. So we're hoping that there's some truth in that statement, and it's good to hear that things have been solid through the ups and downs for you guys. Let's talk about it. There's another group. Zonda puts out some great research, and last week they came out. They did a webinar. And it was chock full with a bunch of great info and data. One of the things that they were focused on, they talked about that it was a unique period of time in the industry because of the market share that new construction is taking from the resale market. And they cited three specific observations that were driving this. The first one, they talked about QMIs, or quick move-in homes, being more of a priority for builders. Obviously, that talks more to the production builders that you mentioned. They also talked though about cycle times, and that cycle times for building a home from foundation to finish have really been compressed. There's been some efficiencies going from what maybe traditionally has been like a 12-month build time down to, I think they quoted, 5 to 7 months. And then lastly, they also talked about this idea of interest rate buy downs that a lot of builders are doing. So talk to us about those three observations. It may or may not be applicable to your business, but I'd like to get your take on that, and if any of them are applicable to what you do at Glen Layton and your customer base.
Yeah, it's super interesting because even though we're not the same, we don't have the same type of clients. It all kind of there is always correlations, right? And so you talk about that compressed build time. In our market, nothing is quicker than 12 months. But to give you a perfectly applicable example, windows that we use a vinyl window on a lot of our homes. It's very good for this salty air environment. 24 to 28 to 32 weeks. They have come down to 8. Some of them are 6 or 4, and so that's a very tangible example of you have a couple of those items, and now your lead times really stretch out on home builds. Especially for the production and semi-custom world, is where you're trying to turn over a product in 5 months and you can't get windows for 5 months. It's going to slow you up. And when those lead times spiked quickly, there's only so much you can do. You can put your orders in for future houses, but you're going to have stuff sitting. And so that's what really hurt that market. And we've definitely been seeing that come more into check. And people ask me all the time, well, what's pricing doing? Is it still going up? Is it coming back down? How's that working? And my answer for the most part has been it's plateaued comfortably, in the sense of last year or the year before, I would get 3 or 4 price increases on any number of items. Whereas now you get your standard 2, 3, 4% price increase in Q1, and that holds true for the rest of the year. So we can work with that from a pricing perspective, right? It's when you're getting hit with all these across the whole front on these little piddly things every quarter that it's tough for no matter who your client is to absorb, because even if you can afford it, it's just irritating, right? To try to bear with that. And so to answer your question, things have been getting better. And one of our biggest pushbacks to this kind of luxury high-end market is the longer lead times. People are looking for more of a quick build, ready to move in. Oh, do you have anything that's under construction that'll be done in 8 months, not have to go through the process of design and build for 12 to 18. And so we have seen an influx in people looking for that type of a product.
Excellent. And then with respect to interest rate buy downs, is that applicable to in your market, the luxury market, and that higher end buyer, or is that not a factor?
Not really. A lot of relationships that we have in the production semi-custom world, we've been seeing a lot of that, and it seems like it's a really great incentive to help people kind of get steamrolling in that. With us, a lot of it is either a cash contract, or they're doing some type of a construction perm loan. And that type of lending is just a lot more limited than your conventional type of lending. And so the whole buy down structure doesn't really come into play with our type of product.
Let's stick with this theme of trends, but maybe let's get away from what some of the think tanks and researchers are talking about. Talk to me about an emerging trend that you've got your eye on.
One of the ones that we have our eye on is AI. I know that it's not the application to construction, especially custom, luxury custom, is not there yet. We don't know where it's going to come into play. But I feel like that's every decade or so, there's a technology that kind of unsettles a lot of industries, and AI and the advancements we've seen even in the last 4 months has been pretty incredible. And so it'd be naive of us to sit back and say, oh, we're construction, you need your tradesmen, nothing's going to change. Because I think that's how industries can die or get rattled. And so we've been paying a lot of attention to AI and the capabilities of it, and what it can do from both a front end and a back end perspective. It's just a super interesting technology that I think we're just in the genesis of it.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Is anything specific you said in the last 3 or 4 months, there have been significant innovation, and I would agree. I feel like that is the talk across all industries. But is there any particular area within home building where you think AI may make a mark more than others?
Yeah, one of them is just the design build perspective, and one of the issues we run into is you have Pinterest and social media these days, so everybody can see everything. Um, with AI, it can be used to kind of like front load that and kind of compile all that information into one clear, concise message. It's really hard to kind of rein in on these clients and prospects and have them and direct their mindset onto where they want to go with a lot of this stuff. And so AI does a really good job about pulling a lot of information and putting it into a very applicable scenario.
Yeah, that's well. Stick with this theme of innovation. Within the industry, is there a specific company or brand that's caught your attention in terms of innovative approaches to building or other aspects of the build process that you've got your eye on?
Yeah, we've kind of been branching out lately and trying to treat our business more of a customer service that does home building versus a home builder that has to be high on the customer service side of things. And so to do that, it's not like a production style build where you go A, then B, then C. It's very fluid. And as soon as you have a handful of projects underway, it can get very confusing. And so we've turned to programs and software such as Monday.com that's very flexible and is created and designed to be flexible for whatever we need and kind of not having to fit into a niche. And so we've been building out programs like that to help our back office team just keep track of all of the minutia that goes on in all of these selections. We have clients that will change plans at every stage of the process, and before you get to permit, you have 10 iterations of construction plans, and that just it can weigh you down. And some of these programs that have been built for the construction industry get a little nuanced and pigeonhole you a little bit into what you can and can't do. And so kind of branching out of that has been super helpful. And it's tough because you kind of talk to people in the industry that's been doing a lot longer than you, and you see what they do, and they've been doing the same thing that people were doing 10 years ago or 15 years ago, and they're kind of stuck on that model. And we're trying to break away from that with some of these new softwares and to help build out a more seamless product and experience.
Excellent. Well, look, I always like to leave our audience with something actionable that they can further research or implement within their own operation. You mentioned Monday as a specific tool. Is there any other tool or technology that you've implemented that you feel has been extremely useful or beneficial in terms of streamlining your organization, creating efficiencies, helping you sell more? Anything that you'd like to note that we can share with our audience?
I'm gonna stick on Monday for a second because it has been super helpful for us, and it's helpful for any level that you need it. And when I say that, I mean for the people who are self-starters, are starting a side hustle and just kind of want to get some organization under their belt, you can build out your own type of templates and use it with training wheels, I should say, versus a smaller company that's up and started, kind of like us, 10 to 12 to 15 employees, and you can hire third-party companies to help develop and put this together and really build out their back-end process and customize it to your workflow. And so at every level, no matter where you are in your business, you can utilize that product really efficiently and cost effectively. And it's been very helpful for us.
Interesting. I'll have to research that one. It sounds like a great tool. Talk to us a little bit about resources or publications that you personally use just to stay informed and stay abreast of what's happening in the industry. Do you have a favorite one that you can share?
Yeah, big shout out to our local construction chapter, NEFBA, Northeast Florida Building Association. They are, by all accounts, just amazing at what they do. They host all types of social gatherings, all types of events, all types of speakers. They cater lunch. They force your hand to come in, and I've never really seen a community we're all competitors to some degree, but it's a bit of a friendly competition. So there's a lot of friends within the community, a lot of people leaning on each other. That's where we go as a company for all of our information. Even when it comes to hiring, we'll say, hey, can you send a newsletter out or send an email blast and say, this is the position we're looking for. Does anybody know anybody? As far as new building codes that are coming up, they have specific chapters that are researching that are pushing back on that are pushing out information on that. And so anytime we have an issue kind of any facet of construction, whether it is the sticks and bricks of it or the operational side of it. We kind of turn there first, just because the community that they have built has been amazing. So big shout out to NEFBA.
Excellent. I'm glad to, always nice to have local resources that you can count on with respect to that. So that's a great one. Thanks. This last question here, I got just kind of a fun one for you. Want to ask you about the latest book that you've read. We can get outside of the building industry here if you want, looking for anything that you felt was particularly, inspirational, aspirational, or just entertaining that you'd like to share.
I'm gonna have to dive into my memory bank for a second, because it's been a minute. I've been big into the podcast world lately, just because from an efficiency standpoint, you can listen as you work.
And fair to go that direction as well. You don't have to stick with the book if you're a podcast guy.
Well, the biggest one that sticks out to me is Good to Great. That it's a bit of a classic at this point, but it really shapes your mindset on building a business, small or large. How do you implement it to what you have going on? And it's great in the sense of it doesn't niche down too far into one type of avenue. It's more about your thought process and your leadership and some things like that, and kind of how you want to frame it. And so that's one that I'll reread every couple of years, because it's just got a bunch of gold nuggets in it.
And I'm with you on the rereads of the classics and the books that are really helpful. I like to revisit them, once every couple of years myself. So thanks for bringing that one up. Patrick, anything else that you were hoping I would ask about, or that you want to talk about and share with our audience here before we wrap up?
No, your questions have been super great, and they've kind of addressed a lot of the issues that we have going on that we've been fighting through. And one thing that I guess I want to touch on is the last 2 or 3 years have been really tough for people in our industry, just from COVID, and they've been tough just in general, right? But the home buying process has had a huge fluctuation, huge down, then huge up, and still kind of up. And so super grateful for where we're at and what we're doing and what the market has allowed, and even being just in Jacksonville in general, in a market that's super hot, is I think it's super easy to rest on what's going wrong. What can we do better? Oh, why is this so hard? Oh, clients are being difficult. At the end of the day, it's an amazing thing to be a part of. And it's a product that you never build twice, and you get to see something new, and it's pretty and it's fun and it's rewarding. And so it's just ultimate gratitude that I want to kind of put out into the world.
I think that's a great message to close on. Well, shout out to you and the team for building great homes and for having such a great product. Again, big appreciation for spending a few minutes with us here today. Very thankful for that. Best of luck to you and the Glen Layton Homes team for the rest of the year, and I'll look forward to catching up with you again soon.